Okay, and we are on for a special little stream. Probably not going to be too long, maybe half an hour or something, because someone has requested to debate with me. So I thought, screw it, we'll do it live. So we'll be expecting them pretty shortly. It's some woman. And for everyone else joining the stream, yes, we do have to do Extinction to end all suffering. The sufferers need it, right? You've got to think of those who will benefit. It's the only right thing. There is too much suffering in this world. It is too extreme, and it's not fair. It's not right. You would have to be very ignorant and naive, uneducated, to think that there's no extreme suffering in the world, and that it's all good. James, I think you're getting tired of talking endlessly about common sense. That's a good point, but I don't know. It is fun to debate people, and I can improve my debate skills as well. Like in my last stream, I was just absolutely destroying people. So it's kind of fun, to be honest. It's not that bad. Anyway, we've got someone coming up to have a conversation now. Bringing them up on stage. Heather, hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks.
What?
I'm all good.
Is there like a lag or a delay?
Not on my end.
Okay.
Yeah, so, do you have any questions?
Yes, I do. Okay, one, I want you to explain better what your whole thing is. This is like the first time I've ever heard of this. Like, I have not seen your platform, your page, nothing, your argument ever. I like popped into Solutions Live randomly while scrolling, and the first thing I heard is you're a fucking annihilator, and you're like, no, I'm actually an executioner, whatever you said.
Extinctionist. Yeah.
Extinctionist, I'm sorry. Okay. And then he like got off shortly after that. And then
He couldn't handle the heat.
shut up. That's not what happened. Okay. I'm gonna make 2 points here. I just got off the phone with him.
There.
Fuck, if he's sitting here listening, I'm gonna blow my whole cover. But dude, you understand that his whole thing is a character, right? Like, do you not
No,
know that?
I've only scrolled past his streams a few times. I saw his prompt that we're all evil, debate me. And I thought it would be a perfect opportunity to say that no, we're not all evil. There's a movement of people coming to end all suffering. So that's that's the opposite of evil.
Okay, it's a character. It's just a thing he does for like engagement, and you understand that?
I do now.
Do
So
not
what do you think?
do not ever fucking tell him that I told you that. But that's all it is. Anyways, now I want to learn about what you've been talking about.
Yeah, so the suffering in this world is too extreme, too terrible to allow. There's too many who are living lives where they would have been better off not being born. And it's not fair. It's not right. So the only way to make sure that it's fair and nobody is, having a horrifically terrible life is with total extinction. So that's the only right thing. That life should never exist in terrible conditions like we have in this world. It's not fair.
I agree, but like, how the fuck what is the movement? What do we do? What?
Yeah, so we've got the pro-extinction movement. I didn't start it. It started 3 years
Keep
ago.
saying it, but like explain to me, like, how do you put that into action? Like, I'm also a fucking activist, but not for that, like, explain better. I keep saying that. I really want you to explain it better to me. Like, what are y'all doing over there?
So yeah, the thing is, like veganism, for example, that doesn't end all suffering. So it's not good enough. It doesn't help everyone. So we need a universal, system that prevents all suffering, and only total extinction will do that. So our movement is growing until we have enough people to start running the world ethically and to start carrying out total extinction so that there's no more, billions of years of terrible suffering.
You are not explaining good at all. Who is doing what? Where are the wheels turning? What the fuck do you mean?
Okay, so yeah, we're gathering activists around the world who will agree to help cause extinction. And yeah, basically we'll start with
So
animals.
y'all are like the little termites that are just like creeping in the shadows that are like deterring anyone in poverty from doing better. You're like, yeah, no, we're gonna
No,
seek
we're
y'all
not.
out and like nuke you. Like, what do you mean?
No,
That's
we're not saying that.
okay.
So it's about responsibly ending suffering in an organized way, in an ethical way. So the world needs to be run ethically anyway.
I'm sorry,
So
Cora. I do say the F word a lot. I'll stop. I'll stop.
yeah, the world needs to be run ethically anyway. So that's what we need to do. And then to run the world ethically, we would have to start doing total extinction. So that means removing all of the animals so that they don't suffer anymore, making sure that life never comes back, and then finally forceful human extinction to make them safe from suffering.
You have a
What do you think
crazy
about that?
tooth whistle.
Hey?
I said you have a crazy tooth whistle.
Oh, do I?
I do too. Um, so I
So what do you
think
think?
that
What do you think? Should we
I
end all
think
suffering or not?
I would love that, but souls do not just leave after that, and that's a whole other conversation. I'm not about to sit here and talk about spirituality with you, but it's an insane idea what you're putting forth. It's even scarier that there's a movement behind it and like
So
proud
who's it scary
actors.
to?
I'm
Who's it?
not done. I'm not done. There's no real like plan behind it because the
There is.
alternative is like let's just put on a Michael Jackson music video and see what happens when we do that, you know? Like it's not a good idea.
Why not?
Because evil is going to continue to lurk, dude. It doesn't address the
Right,
problem.
but that's just excuses for not helping.
So just murk everybody. It kills
Well,
the evil.
so
You're
you what
gonna
you
keep cycling through this through
so
someone else's
you
life
think
vessel.
death is bad?
Do you know what my job is?
Do you think death is bad?
Do you know what my job is?
You're not answering the question.
Well, I'll answer it. You want to know what my job is? I'm a fucking mortician. Sorry, I said the F word again. Someone in the chat didn't like when I said fuck.
Okay, so
I'm a mortician. My whole life is
that's not
death because
relevant.
I. Okay. Yes, it is because I care about afterlife care.
Okay.
I feel like
Well,
I'm
what? So
putting
you,
myself
you
at the
care more
top of the
about
list.
life once it's dead.
What?
Do you care about people more after they've passed away?
No, I just believe in afterlife care. I don't.
Okay,
No.
and how's that relevant to extinction?
I guess you're right, because once we're all taken out, like who cares? What can you do? But I believe in the spiritual side of it. We have to at least address the issue of suffering and pain and evil. But what do we do about that when we're still here? Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
Okay, Heather, it sounds like you've had a drink pretty early in the morning, so we're going to move on to Carlos. Yes, she does sound drunk, right? All right, Carlos, bringing you up. How you doing?
Not too bad, not too bad. I mean, my point would be that you often always go to the child suffering part of it, yeah? But you don't have a child, right? So you're not a
Okay.
parent, you don't have a child. It is relevant because obviously if you had a child, you would do your best to protect your child, to make sure your child is happy, to make sure your child is not suffering. You go on about child suffering a lot, but you don't have the perspective of having a child. Also, you go on about suffering and to prevent extinction. Like so
Prevent
there's
extinction? No, no.
yeah. Well, no, not prevent it. Obviously, you're all for it. But my point is, there's several countries where you can go self euthanize yourself. Switzerland, Canada, the UK's passed a bill. So, like, the point would be that Why don't you go first? Step in line. If you're all about like everyone being unalived on this earth, go first, unalive yourself.
Carlos, if I go first, who do you think will go second?
I don't know. Maybe your followers.
Probably not, though, right? Probably no one.
Yeah, probably not. Probably not. So what
Right,
you're
so
saying is
that's not good enough. That doesn't help. That doesn't do anything, Carlos.
okay. So your point is that you wouldn't actually right. So for example,
If I do that, who benefits is that the psychopaths who are torturing animals, right? Because then no one's trying to stop them.
okay, but then like right back in the days when it was like in the days of kings, the king used to fight in the front line and lead his troops. Yeah, he would be the first to go. Yeah, you're like a general in the background dictating that everyone should die, but you're not willing to do what you truly believe in, dude. It's quite simple.
Carlos, do you not realize that we have to help animals first?
Well, I mean,
So,
what
so
do you
how
mean
would that help animals?
Help.
Carlos.
So
Carlos,
help
how is that
animals
going to help
by
animals?
unaliving every animal on this planet is helping animals. Yeah.
Yes.
You know that elephants mourn the dead, right? So why do elephants mourn their own dead?
That's your argument. That's your argument.
No, it's not my argument. I'm saying that certain animals, right,
Extinction
have
is wrong
intelligence.
because elephants mourn the dead.
No. I'm saying elephants
your
mourn the
statement?
dead. Dolphins are very intelligent creatures. Pigs are
I'm not
very
hearing an
intelligent.
argument here, Carlos. I'm not hearing any sort of counter argument or any
My
point.
counter argument is, dude, you go on about this movement, but like, just go first, dude. That's what I'm trying to say. You go on about children suffering. You don't have a child, so you would have no. The only I'm guessing you're a rich middle white class child, right? My point would be this: you go on about suffering and like. I seen you on that video on your holiday in Spain, having the time of your life, mate. You were enjoying life, yeah? You weren't suffering at that point in time, were you? No, you were having a great old time. The point is this: suffering
How do you know?
exists.
How do you know, Carlos? How do you know?
Because you look like you were having a great, good old time, mate.
Looks can be deceiving.
Oh well, yeah. I mean that may be true, but the point is, you go on about suffering, but you still.
So you were just assuming. You were making an assumption, Carlos.
Oh well, if I see a man smile and having a great old time on a beach and making a little video,
You've never seen those adverts about depression, then, right?
I've got depression, dude.
So you don't
What
sound like
are you
you.
talking about?
You
I'm
shouldn't
on
just
medication.
assume everyone's happy all the time, right?
No one's happy all the time. The point is this. For you to experience happiness, you need to know suffering. For you to experience the sunshine, you need to know what it feels like to be left out in the rain. That is life. Suffering is part of life.
But is that the way it is for everyone?
No, I'm pretty sure there's some billionaires. I'm pretty sure Bill Gates ain't suffering. I'm pretty sure there's some billionaires on this earth that ain't.
Yeah, and what about on the opposite end of the spectrum?
Of course.
What?
Look at Iran. Look at Russia.
Yeah, so
look
Carlos,
at
you're
Ukraine.
saying that everyone has a perfect balance in their life. Okay, I'm asking if this is actually true.
No, but that's the powers that be. That's the system that we live in. I'm against the system. I'm against war. I'm against talk.
So what
I'm
about
against
animals,
all the
Carlos?
shit that
What about
happens.
animals?
I mean, animals is a weird thing. Obviously, I'm against suffering for animals, but I'm not vegan.
Okay,
I,
so what would you support animal extinction?
Because what about some wild horse or some wild frog or some animal that doesn't suffer, that has a perfect life, that has a perfect life cycle?
So you think that their life is so important that it merits someone else, another animal, being tortured horrifically to make it happen?
No, not at all. You're putting words in my
But
mouth.
you do understand that's what is happening, right?
Yeah, on this earth, for someone to be rich, there will be someone that is.
Carlos, do you not think that's a bad thing?
Yes, of course it's a bad thing, but how about instead of trying to end all suffering and go for extinction, you know, there's enough resources and money and whatever in this world for it to be a utopia. The reason it's a dystopia is because of the systems that have been put.
Carlos, a utopia is still unethical, right? There's still going to be unacceptable suffering.
I mean, no, not in the perfect utopian society. Where everyone can eat for free, have shelter for free, do whatever they want.
There's still going to be danger, right?
Of course there will be.
So
Maybe that's human nature.
But Carlos, you see that will be unfair to those who pay the price.
But who are you to decide? Right. So my end point.
Anyone can decide that, Carlos.
No. But like, for example, you're saying to get rid of every single person on this earth. How are you planning? Are you planning to So is there such thing as a painless death? Will they not suffer? So by trying, you say, to prevent all suffering, your pro-extinction movement would cause the most suffering that the world would have ever seen.
Well,
in terms
no, that's wrong, Carlos. That's wrong, because you see, euthanasia is actually painless, and so animals
Okay, have you been
would
euthanized?
benefit.
Have you been given a lethal injection? Right? No, you haven't. So you can't tell me it's painless
Yeah,
until you die.
but you see, Carlos, it would be less suffering than billions of more years of suffering.
Dude, I think your
Dude,
point is,
what?
I don't know if you're a troll. I don't know
No,
if you're an
Carlos, just
actual
answer the point.
billions
Don't
of
get exasperated. Don't get frustrated. That's just you dodging
right,
the
so-
question.
So there's people that have
You're dodging the
suffered.
question, Carlos.
I'm not
This is
dodging
your
the
last
question.
chance. Are you going to answer the question?
Right, ask me the question again.
Do you not understand that it's impossible to cause more suffering with extinction when you're preventing billions of years of more suffering?
Yeah, but how can you say that? That's not a question, is it? You're making
That's what I'm asking you.
Well, no, because billions of years, who you to say that, like, for example, it's a simple case of suffering exists, people suffer, you've suffered.
Carlos,
Probably a lot less than
I'm
most
not
people
hearing
in your life
an
because you're a
answer to
rich
my question
fucking
here,
posh,
Carlos.
fucking
Carlos, I'm
middle
not
class
hearing.
kid.
It doesn't
who's had
sound
a
like
good
you're
ex-
engaging with the question, Carlos.
How much suffering have you faced in your life?
Carlos, so this is your last
That's my
chance. Are
question.
you going to
How
answer
much
the
have you
question,
suffered?
or are you chickening out? Are you surrendering? Are you
I'm
giving
not-
up? Are you forfeiting?
No, your question's redundant because you're saying how do
So you
what,
forfeit.
billions of years? Okay, I'll forfeit on your bullshit point. Yeah.
Okay, that's a win, right? That's an absolute
No,
win.
it's not. I forfeit on your stupid, redundant ass
You can't
question.
answer the question.
It's not a question; it's a statement.
Okay, I asked it as a question though.
Yeah, but you made it right. So you literally made a statement,
And then I rephrased it as a question for you because you were struggling really, really badly.
dude. Listen, mate. It's quite simple.
So Carlos, just answer the question. Do you think billions of years of suffering has more suffering, or a bit of euthanasia has more suffering?
A bit of euthanasia to kill every single life organism on this earth.
But
is not
Carlos,
a
they're going to
little
die
bit.
anyway, and they're going to die a worse death than
But they're
euthanasia
not.
would
You
provide.
can't say this. You can't say this, dude.
Yes, you
There
can.
will be animals.
Of course
that
you can.
live.
A natural death is way worse.
Okay. All right. So what? Like I'm saying, a natural death is way worse.
Obviously.
How is a natural death being way worse than being put to death?
Mm-hmm.
Ask a man on death row if he would rather naturally die or if he would rather have the lethal injection.
You should work
Ask
in a
the-
care
ask-
home
ask
sometime,
the people
Carlos.
in the French Revolution.
You should work in a care home sometime.
Oh, mate, mate, ask the people in the French Revolution whether they would rather face a natural death or face a guillotine or someone that would be
So
hanged.
let me ask you this: would you rather be euthanized or eaten alive? Because that's what happens to most animals.
Yeah, but it's not going to happen to me, is it?
So you're just selfish. That's it.
I'm selfish. No, I'm a human being, dude.
So that's your argument. This is what you're contributing to this debate: is that I'm selfish. I just don't care.
No, well, what you're contributing
Is that right, Carlos? You're not
you
answering
want
the
to-
questions here, Carlos.
No, to save every living being,
Carlos,
you want
you're just
to
dodging every
No,
question and changing
I'm not
subject.
dodging because your question's
You are.
redundant, dude.
So
It's a
you're
retarded
refusing to answer it.
question. It's almost a rhetorical question, dude.
So you're not. Well, it's there's a bit of a pattern here, Carlos, that you just can't answer questions and you change subject.
Right, if you do a survey, ask most people.
So
would
you're
they
dodging
rather
again. This is
die
just you
a
still
natural
dodging the
death
question.
or be euthanized. I'm pretty sure 99.99% would say
look,
they.
I've given him like 20 chances now to stop dodging questions. He's talking past me, right? He's not listening to anything I say. He's refusing to engage. I'm trying to listen to him, trying to respond to him. Then he'll just change subject. It's not a proper debate at that point. And he did say he forfeits, right? He said he forfeits. So, I mean, that's like probably one of the biggest defeats in my debate history so far, right? One of the most clear cut, like, yeah, I forfeit, I'm selfish, you're right, I'm wrong, kind of. Yeah, sorry, Carlos, you got wrecked. Tyler, hello, how you doing?
Good day, my good sir.
Hello.
Oh yeah, I'm good, man. How you doing? Okay, well, man, I disagree with the whole, I guess, proposal. I think it's a lazy, I guess, solution to the whole thing. Yeah, as much as there is suffering in the world, but I think there are better alternatives than just, I guess,
Okay, like what?
or extinction.
So how do you make suffering impossible without extinction?
Okay, would you agree with me that suffering is better now compared to the 1,000 years ago?
No. Suffering has never
You disagree?
changed. So for the vast majority of the population, animals suffering their conditions have never changed. They've always been the worst conditions possible, and they've never improved.
Well, with all the vaccines and all the antibiotics, like modern technology, don't you think it has helped actually alleviate some suffering?
So again, most suffering is in nature with wild animals, and their conditions have never improved. They've always had the very worst conditions possible. That's never improved.
Okay, so you were arguing mostly for the, I guess, like the animals instead of.
Well, they are the majority of the population on this planet. It would be kind of ignorant to just ignore them.
But don't you think, just like the humans, we can actually improve, make life better as much as we do research and actually gain some.
Yeah, but
build some new
improving it's
technologies?
not really good enough, is it? Right? The thing is that's not fair to those who suffer, right? So it's like saying that we should reduce suffering instead of ending suffering, reducing slavery instead of ending slavery. That's not fair, is it? You know, you wouldn't tell the slaves, you know, we could end your slavery, but we're just going to reduce it a little bit instead.
Well, okay, so okay, let's just say we're sitting here and we disagree. Let's just say you have all the power now, and then what do you do? Like, there's some people who would like to live with the suffering, and then how do you work with that? Because I mean, these are different ideologies, and then you push your ideologies like capitalism and socialism, and people are fighting and talking past each other. How do we work that out?
But unless you do total extinction, there's just always going to be suffering. So it has to be total and non-voluntary.
Yeah, but like some people disagree then.
Yeah, but that's always been the case. People have always disagreed with each other. So, but that's not stopped the world from, you know, being operated, right?
Okay, here's a fascinating question for you. If you believe so much in this cause, why don't you lead by example then? Like, why are you still here?
Because that doesn't cause extinction. That's suicide. That's a different thing.
But I mean, you're gonna put, I don't know, like you're the leader of this movement, and then if you lead by example, maybe, I don't know, some other people are gonna take it on and try to actually make it the case for everyone else. You know what I'm saying?
So that would be the opposite of following my example. Then that would be not following my example.
Okay, so how do you see it? Do you want everybody to be gone first, and then it's gonna be you at last?
Do you see how that was a crazy question?
Well, how is it gonna happen then? Like, how are you gonna make sure that, like, I don't know, are you gonna just put out some nukes? You know, like, I don't know.
No,
how are you? How would you make it happen?
It'll be by euthanasia. Nukes can't cause extinction. So it has to be like bit by bit, structured, organized with euthanasia.
Well, man, I guess I don't know. We may agree to disagree. I think it's a lazy philosophy.
So what do you disagree on? So you think it's a lazy solution. So what would be your solution to make suffering impossible?
Okay, I don't know if you are. Where are you based, man? In the UK, by any chance?
I'm not hearing any sort of. You're criticizing my solution and then saying that you would go with a solution that doesn't even exist.
No. No. I believe that problems are solvable. I believe that we've come so far.
Tyler, give us some reason to believe in that there is another solution.
I mean, look at the world right now compared to 1,000 years ago. So I think that we're going to solve these problems.
It's not helped animals. And
I think it
also,
will eventually.
Look, it doesn't matter how much the world has improved. We've not really gotten closer to making suffering impossible.
Okay, but we can. I don't know if you could just. I don't know. Try to imagine 2,000 years from now, like in the future. I'm sure we're going to improve quite a lot. I mean, already these debates are happening.
What's your problem with extinction, though, Tyler?
I think I don't know.
I think you're saying we shouldn't actually use it.
I don't think. I think it's a lazy one. I think there's some better alternatives.
Why is it lazy? You know? Why is it lazy?
Because I guess we have common ground in agreeing that suffering is a problem.
Do you not think it's just an infinitely more practical solution?
But I think that the problem with that, it's coercive. It's almost like socialist and capitalist. You know, they're telling other people what to do.
That's how the world works already.
Okay, in a way, I do agree with that. However, we ought to change that. You know, we ought to fix and actually change that. Give people right and a right to choose. You know what I'm saying?
But nobody has a right to choose when they're forced to exist and suffer terribly, Tyler. So that's a much bigger problem.
Okay, well then I guess we can give those people who actually get here and decided, you know what, maybe I don't want to be here. Maybe they can just get euthanasia and then they just.
But no, but
some other people are enjoying their time here.
That's not a realistic solution.
I mean, some countries are like that already. I don't know if it's
No,
Canada.
but having euthanasia clinics doesn't end all suffering.
Okay, but again, we're going to the thing. Some other people are okay with suffering. Take me, for instance. I think.
Yeah, but Tyler, that doesn't make it okay. It's still not fair.
Yeah, but
That's
like
that's like saying some of my slaves are happy, so slavery is okay. It is.
But again, I think this suffers from I don't know, objectivity. Like, there's a
What do you
problem of
mean?
subjective and
Tyler,
objectivity.
do you think that, unfair suffering is a good thing?
Obviously not. I don't
Okay,
think it is.
so why are you supporting it?
It's not that I support it. It's that, like, I think the solution
You're not
is
saying we should end
ludicrous.
it. That's basically the same as supporting
We
it.
we ought to do that, but I think the solution that we should just end it all is a lazy one, and I
Okay,
don't
so
support
but
it.
again, if we're to accept what you're saying, that that's a lazy solution, give us, some reason to think that there's something else that we should do instead.
I mean, it's you looking at the world right now with all the modern
Tyler,
conveniences.
you're not
with
answering the
all-
question.
Okay, what is the question exactly?
How are you going to make suffering impossible without extinction?
It's us actually having okay, it's just more advancing the sciences and technology, and as more of that actually happens, I believe that we're gonna
And
get
what would
into
it
a
have to
point.
look like for suffering to be impossible in your world without extinction?
Okay, there are some things
Because
that
look, you're suggesting something you don't even believe in. You're literally suggesting something which you have no idea what it looks like. So that's not
okay,
really
check this
logical.
out. Check this out. Okay, we
It's
might not get to
logical,
a point
Tyler.
where these,
You're literally suggesting
these
something which you don't even have a beginning of a concept of what it looks like.
okay, that may be true to a degree. I mean, we may
So how
never
can you
get to a
suggest
point
that?
where these
How can you
zero.
suggest that
Okay,
and then say that my solution is lazy? Surely your solution is lazier because it doesn't exist.
okay, but check this out. My problem with this whole thing is that it's coercive. Like, how do you tell people that no, like,
Do you think it's more
just don't exist
coercive
because
than the alternative?
for people to be born without their consent, I guess.
And yeah, and then all of the coercion that happens after that as well.
Oh, for example, what?
For
Like,
example,
give me an
what, you don't think
example.
coercion exists?
No, I think we are. I mean, there's very little
So
freedom
you
in
need
the
an
world
example
anyway.
that coercion exists in the world. Is that what you're asking for, Tyler? You said, for example, right? So
No, it's just that
it blows your mind that it even exists.
it's just that many of these things are not even that bad in the modern world, to be
Oh,
quite
really?
honest.
Really? So being eaten
Yeah.
alive isn't that bad?
Okay, but okay, it's just that I think me and
All
you,
right,
you're
Tyler,
mostly
you're done.
focused.
Okay, you're done. You're finished, right? You're obviously finished at that point. Okay, moving on. We have more people in the queue. That was a pretty disappointing debate. Just felt like we were going nowhere with that one. Yeah. Okay, moving on. Hello, how you doing?
Hello, I'm good. So I support your movement. I mean, we suffer. You're right. So we should all die, right?
Basically, yeah.
Okay. I mean, I support it. Period.
But we have
That's
to do
all.
it in a way that helps everyone, right? So don't
So
just end your
yeah.
own suffering, end all suffering. So we have to do it with peaceful, organized activism, right? To change the world, make extinction possible.
So we should bomb every country with every people in it, and we should all die in that way.
No.
So how do we forget suffering?
Well, in order to actually end suffering, you have to run the world as a government. There's no way to do it with an opposing authority. So we have to grow the movement until we can start running the world ethically. And then we start with animal extinction and researching how to prevent life from developing. And eventually we move on to human extinction with euthanasia. So it won't be like bombs or anything like that.
Oh, okay. I see you. Oh, but I support this movement and keep going. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And consider joining our Discord server or our WhatsApp group. The links are on my profile and they're also on the website. You can check out our website, proextinction.com, and read our manifesto, our FAQ. Okay, next debate starting now. Hello.
Hello. So I completely support your movement. I was just wondering, can we postpone the extinction to when after GTA 6 comes out? Because like I'd like to play that before it happens.
But that would just take forever. So we can't let all of the suffering go on for billions of years while we're waiting for GTA 6. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, true. But yeah, I do support the movement, and I just think we need to just figure out when the best time to do it would be. Like, how are we going to actually get everyone to be on board to do
But
this?
we don't need to worry about that. We just have to start growing the movement. That's the most important thing. Take action.
Oh yeah, I'm looking like too far ahead. We just need to start sort of convincing people of it at this point.
That's it. But, well, it's gathering people together to work on the project. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, well, I'm not really here to have a debate. I was just like to say, yeah, I completely support the movement, and I'll start working on convincing other people around me to join it too.
Well, great. Yeah. Join our Discord. The link's obviously on my profile. And start making videos. You can start, doing live stream debates as well, educating people. All right. Luckily, today we have lots of people in the queue, so plenty of people to choose from. Bringing up Joey next. Trying to bring up Joey now. Okay, no, it's not loading. We've got Remix in the queue. All right. Let's see if Remix will come back up. Remix, trying to get you in. Accept it. No. All right, who else we got? Okay, no, we did get Remix. Hello, Remix.
Hello.
How you doing?
Hey, how are you?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Good, good. Now I actually support your cause. You want to get rid of all suffering, and that's good. But the way you're going about it is I'm very not for, and I'm very against.
Why not?
Because you see, this problem where you want to get rid of all life on Earth is actually physically impossible. There would be
Why?
no way. There would
Why?
be no physical way to be able to do that. Life is
Why not?
always going to find a way.
Why?
Life is always going to find a way to develop.
How do you know? How do you know this?
Because let's think of a real theoretical solution. What is your theoretical solution to full extinction on planet Earth?
Well, we're saying that we should try and make it happen, but you're saying it's impossible. So what makes you think it's impossible?
Because, bro, life is always going to find a way. We don't really
What makes you
have
say
a
that?
way.
What makes you say that?
We've tried eradicating life in certain regions before. It's always came back, bro.
What? So you think we've reached the limits of science and technology?
Yeah, like right after the Quran.
You think we've reached the limits? You think that's it?
No, probably
Okay,
not.
so but you did just say that. So now you're changing your
No, I
mind.
was saying something else. We have not reached the limit.
No, you
But
did.
you see,
You did say that we have reached the limits, that we've tried before, and so it'll never be possible. I don't think you even realize what you're saying at this point.
Right, bro. Life's always going to find a way to develop. So why do you want to get rid of it? It's not possible.
So, but when you say it's always going to find a way to develop, what makes you say that it's impossible to prevent that?
Bro, you can't even really think of a solution yourself.
But
You're
that's
the leader
that's
of
how
this
science
movement.
works. That's how the solution is science. It's to try and find a solution.
Do you genuinely believe that it is possible to get rid of all life on Earth?
Yeah, of course I do. It's
Then
not
you,
that
sir,
hard.
are very delusional.
Why? It's not that hard. So no logic
Dude,
detected.
just stop it already.
No logic detected. Come on, tell us why it's so hard. Go into some detail. Okay, well, look. So, yeah, again, extinctionists aren't claiming, we can definitely do universe-wide extinction or we can definitely do this. But we are saying that we should try. We should, see if it is possible. So if you're going to say it's impossible, then we'll listen to you and say, okay, well, really? Okay, fair enough. Well, can you explain why we should believe that? I mean, why should we not even bother to try to end suffering, right? So this show is just millions of excuses from people to not even bother trying. It's just excuse after excuse after excuse. But that's all it is excuses, and they're weak and shallow excuses that don't actually hold up at all. So I mean, look, even if it was somehow impossible, it would still be the right thing to prevent as much suffering as we can, to do it as much extinction as we can. It would still be the right thing. Just allowing suffering with excuses is never okay. Hello, Elle. How you doing?
How you doing, buddy? I just want to say that I feel like, yeah, we all need to probably be deleted from the from existence. I'm not even gonna lie. Just because if you think about it, I mean, even back in the day, the Black Plague, I mean, it will always be drama on this planet. So it will never go away. Like it's inevitable for drama and destruction and
Suffering.
Exactly. So I do agree with the fact that we most definitely need to put an end to but I don't know, like yeah, for sure, like total extinction. Yeah, probably. For you believe in animal extinction too, right? Or is it just humans?
Yeah. Animals as well.
Okay, yeah. Animals too. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I know that guy that was in here the last time. He was saying, what he said. He said it was impossible or something.
Yeah, and as soon as I asked him why, he left.
So, so yeah, yeah. I was like, I couldn't wait till you went back to join and just let. Now I wanted to talk to Carlos too because I know he said something that I wanted to respond to. I forgot what he said, but yeah, yeah. I couldn't wait for you to go live so I could, rant a little bit. But
why don't you join our Discord as well?
Okay, for sure.
Links
I'm trying
on
to
my
think of
profile.
anything. Okay, I'm trying to think of anything else I had to say. Let me think.
Would you do activism yourself?
Would you say?
Would you become an activist?
You know what? I'm at a mental state in life where I just don't care about, like, I don't want to be alive. I don't care about anything. Like, so I don't even want to do, I support what you do, but I don't even want to, like, I have no energy to do anything just because, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, I just don't care about being a human because it's suffering. Like it is suffering. Like, and it's like, there's people that, they get the short end of the stick and didn't ask for it. They get the worst out of life and did not ask for it at all. We did not ask to be alive. You know what I'm saying? So nobody asked to be alive. So the fact that we have to suffer on top of it's just not fair. So and that's just, yeah. So like people don't understand, like people that live good lives, they don't understand it. You know what I'm saying? Like when you live a good life, you're not going to understand it. You know what I'm saying? So like they just they don't know what it feels like to suffer. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't know what it feels like to suffer, you'll never understand. You know what I mean? So it's people that they just won't ever understand, sadly. So it's
That's it, exactly. We're only looking for the small number of people in the world who will care enough and who will understand that it's the right thing to do and who will come together and help us make it possible to do extinction.
Yep. I appreciate the time, though, for sure.
Yeah. Elle, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for your support. All right, we got loads of people in the queue. Let's see who's next. I'm going to try and bring up, we got Amy, we got Trihanas coming up next. Hello.
Hi. So you know that I completely agree with the extinction and want to keep on supporting it. I also joined your Discord, but
Great.
I've been thinking lately, like, do you ever think about just ending it? Like, you know what I mean? Like, ending it yourself to wait, I don't know how to say it, but like I've been thinking too about suicide, because there's a lot of people that will have different opinions and just debate against common sense. And I've been thinking, do you ever think about just suicide, to not deal with it at all and just be in peace?
Yeah, all the time. But my desire to help others to be safe, to end all suffering, not just my own suffering, is stronger.
But I don't really understand, why do you care? Why do you care that about the extinction? Everyone would go extinct. Why wouldn't you just end it and be in peace? I just don't get it.
Yeah, I feel, for others too strongly to do that, right? When I know I can help.
Yeah, well, I'm really glad that you want to try the extinction, and it's really really amazing. But I've been having a really hard time. A really hard time, and I've been just thinking about a lot of stuff, and I just kind of not understand it, I guess. But
Well, for some people in the movement, like myself, it's good to have community and like-minded people, and it gives us a sense of purpose, and gives us something to work on and to commit ourselves to learn skills, to develop on. So it can be good to do activism as well. I'm not saying you have to, but you can think about it.
yeah, I will think about it. I really love your content. I will keep on supporting it. I will keep on supporting the extinction thing. Have a good day, man.
Yeah, you too. Thank you for coming up. I appreciate the support. All right, let's see who we've got next. Hello,
Hi.
how's it going?
Good. My fart smells.
Say what?
My fart smells.
Are you suffering because of it?
I am.
Are your farts powerful enough to cause
Have you ever had
extinction?
anal sex though? You look gay, but you look good.
No, I'm actually straight. But thank you for your interest. Okay, let's see if Amy will come up. Amy, hello.
Hi, yeah, I'm suffering as well. I literally have no money to do anything. Last night, I couldn't even feed myself. It's just never ending suffering. And I literally just don't know how people can just wake up every morning and just be happy and just want to live.
Privilege. They're lucky.
I know. You look really privileged.
Looks can be deceiving.
Do you have money? Are you
I'm
privileged?
privileged in some ways and less so in other ways. But that's
I hate the way that I look. I hate the way that my body is. I hate the fact that my brain works like this. It's just I have to look for money. I have to go out and actually look after myself. It's just never ending suffering. And I don't really like to use the word suffering because you use it, but it's just never ending sadness.
misery.
Yeah, cruelty actually.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why the universe even decided that I was a right fit to be a human being.
Yeah, and when you consider how much worse it's probably going to get, that's makes it even more scary.
Exactly. I'm only 20. Imagine when I turn 21. I'm probably not even going to turn 21 because at this point, life is just ridiculously just too hard, everyone. I just think everyone should just generally try and kill themselves because honestly, it's not going to get any good from here.
But you see, that wouldn't end suffering for everyone, right? So, we can do actions in this world, right? We can do things. So we can actually use that power to help other people. The thing is, right, we need a universal overarching system that's going to help everyone, prevent suffering for everyone, cause total extinction for everyone, make it so that nobody's suffering. And we can't create that unless we actually do activism and make it happen. Simply unaliving yourself doesn't help the world, doesn't help anyone else. It is a selfish thing, ultimately. Unless you really desperately need to do it. Then it's a bit more understandable. But we do encourage people to try and do activism to end all suffering, not just their own. Hello, how you doing?
Good on you. So this is like a actual thing you're very passionate about, eh?
Yeah.
Right. So why do you think it should be a forceful thing?
Otherwise, it won't happen, right?
True, but do you think it's better to have a choice in
No.
decisions? No,
Not when
why?
it comes to extinction. No.
Okay. And you want extinction for every like life on
Yeah.
Earth.
Animals, human, everything. Yeah.
So plants as well.
Yeah.
Right. Do you believe that anything comes after death?
No.
Just nothing.
You rest in peace.
Okay. How do you plan to do this? I've never had like. I'm shocked. Like I can't tell if this is satire or not.
No, I mean the suffering in this world is serious, right? So we need a serious solution.
Well, I get like suffering can be perceived as a bad thing, and um, I mean suffering has helped me kind of.
Yeah, but think how many would benefit from extinction.
But why? Well, okay,
Because
wait. Actually, what is the kind of base for you wanting extinction? Like, what did something happen that wanted you to have extinction for everything?
no, it's just about understanding, what's right for the world, what's wrong, what's good, what's bad, and what's fair. And there is too much suffering in the world. It's not fair.
Okay.
But
Do
think about
do
it
you
this way,
en-
right? Is it fair for anyone to live a life where they would have been, much better off not being born? Where they're begging for death, wishing they hadn't been born, screaming in pain all day, every day. That's not fair, is it?
That's a good point. Not everyone can be, I guess, as privileged to not have, I guess, pain or suffering. But I'm not really here to debate you. But I'm just kind of like just curious. Like, it's a very niche thing. I know, I think it's the UK that has the assistant suicide thingamabob.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll let someone else on. So you have a good one.
All right, Mr. Sparkle, thank you for joining us. Next, we've got, who have we got? Braden's always a bit of fun. Well, we do need more people in the queue, but Braden, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Yeah, I've been reading you guys' website, and it's kind of interesting. So according to the website, suffering is the only bad thing that exists to you, all right?
Pretty much.
Yeah, so basically, you guys define suffering explicitly as just a feeling that someone wants to avoid, correct? That's at least that's how the website explicitly describes it, as like a feeling that an agent wants to avoid, a
But it's like
pain.
negative experiences, I suppose. Yeah.
Well, it says pain
It doesn't really matter
explicitly.
it doesn't really need to be defined too specifically.
Okay. Cool. Oh, and just also Big Red Button, I have seen your video on me. So we want to say that suffering is just pain that an agent wants to avoid.
Braden, why do you
according to the
need to
website.
define it? Why?
Because you define it this way on your website.
No.
It's
So,
explicitly
but
laid out on the
why do you
website.
need to talk about the definition?
Oh, because I just need to make sure we get clear.
Why?
Because I'll give you the reductio to this view, right? So the reductio is right. You have an unconscious person, right? So they're not conscious. They can't think about the pain that they actively want to avoid. So that's cool. So obviously you wouldn't say though that, or you would say that like raping them is wrong, but they're not like suffering because it's not a pain that they're actively trying to avoid, right? Given the definition that you guys explicitly outline on your website, right? Because they're not conscious of the event, right? And you take consciousness to be a prerequisite to experiencing suffering, according to your website, like verbatim, right? It says it like in the website. Okay, cool. So then you wouldn't say that graping someone's wrong, right? Because they're not actively aware of it if they're unconscious, right?
Well, I mean, they could find out about it and get upset.
No, they'll never find out about it.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is that that's an unrealistic solution. Sorry,
That's a
hypothetical.
solution.
Sorry,
What do you mean
sorry.
it's an unrealistic
I
hypothetical?
misspoke. It's an unrealistic hypothetical, right?
People get graped in comas all the time, James. What do you mean? What do you mean it's
But
unrealistic?
again, they could wake up and find out about it, right?
But they won't. Let's just say they don't.
Or their family members.
Plenty of times.
Right, but
Let's just say it's by a nurse.
imposing a rule into this hypothetical where there's like omniscience level certainty that won't happen. So again, that can't apply to real life, Braden.
Wait, what do you mean? There's plenty of instances where doctors are found out 20 years later it's been doing terrible things to their patients.
Yeah, which is why it's bad.
20 years later. Yeah, 20 years later. But in that instance, let's say that they just never find out.
So Braden,
For 20 years, we just
how does
extended.
this relate to extinction?
Okay, I'll explain because you guys want to say that suffering is the only bad thing, right? According to your website. Well, I've just given you the reductio that you agree that graping someone is wrong, right? Obviously, but they're not suffering because they're not like cognizant of it. I think it's wrong for different reasons, but I'm saying your position is faulty due to these reasons, right? That's obviously a reductio.
So extinction is invalid because you can.
Yes, because given the suffering, given the way you outline suffering, given the way you outline suffering, that's why your view is false, is because you're saying suffering is the only bad. Now, obviously it's not, and you agreed to that, right?
So what else is bad?
So your position is false.
What else is
your
bad
position
then?
is false.
What
else is graping somebody?
But
I've just outlined it twice.
Because it can cause suffering.
No, but it doesn't cause suffering because they never know. You say that suffering is just only indexed to an agent understanding they're going through pain and actively wanting to get away from it. If they're in a coma, they don't actively want to get away.
Got it twisted.
So then your position is false.
You've got it
then your
twisted.
view is false.
No, it's not false, right?
No, you're saying suffering is the only bad. So if that's the core tenet of your belief system and the core tenet of your movement that's outlined on your website, then obviously, right, your view is false because you're not accounting for other things that are bad. So you're wrong.
So you think that fruiting someone would be bad even if they don't experience it?
Fruiting?
Graping.
Oh, sorry, my bad. I was very confused. I think it would be bad. Yeah, of course I think it would be bad.
Why?
Because you're depriving them or you're violating their consent. I think consent's important.
So even if they're in a coma and they're never going to find out, it's never actually going to affect them.
Yeah, I think that's wrong. I think that's wrong.
Why?
You're violating their consent. And you wouldn't want it done to you.
And
because you're contradicting yourself, because you're not acting as a rational agent.
Now you're being irrational, Braden.
Being irrational by saying we should grape coma patients? How is that irrational?
Because your answer was irrational.
How is it irrational to say we shouldn't grape coma patients? There's no contradiction. There's no problem with the view that I'm presenting. Okay, explain.
So I asked you why it's bad, and you said because you're not being rational. So that was an irrational answer from you.
How is me saying you're not being rational an irrational answer, James?
Because that is a non sequitur. It's nothing to do with the question I asked you. So let's try again. Let's see if you can.
That's why it's wrong,
Braden. Let's see if you can answer the question.
Okay.
So why would it be bad to abuse someone in a coma?
I'll adopt like a deontological principle.
It's a simple question.
I'll adopt a deontological
principle. We'll just move on to someone else.
Yeah, it's harmful to the person. You're depriving them.
How?
Because you're depriving them of the ability to consent. They can't consent to your action, so it's wrong to violate someone's consent.
Why?
Because you wouldn't do it to your. Why is that wrong? Because it's harmful. Because it's intrinsically harmful to violate someone's consent, unless because that's just how it's defined as harmful. What do you mean? How is it harmful?
So what you're appealing to a definition?
Yeah, because it'll frustrate their preferences.
In what way? You said that they'll never suffer as a result. So now you're contradicting yourself.
What do you mean? It's gonna frustrate their preferences and their interests.
No. You said that they would never suffer in this hypothetical, and now you're saying they would suffer.
No. Wait, hold on. That's your hypothetical for your view on why you think it's wrong. My coma patient is going to wake up, right?
And you're just Braden.
Debate me formally. I'm not.
Braden, you're tripping over yourself. You're tripping over yourself.
Yeah. Let's set up the formal.
Let's
set up the formal debate. When do you want to formally debate? I've already hit you up on Discord. You agreed to it.
You're
when do you want to
changing the
debate,
subject.
James?
You're changing the
When do you want to debate? We can debate and say I'm wrong. Come on.
You're dodging questions.
I'm not dodging. I'm actively engaging with what you're saying. I've answered every question that you've asked
So
me.
well, let's take a breather for a minute and analyze what just happened.
Let's analyze.
I know you don't want me to do that, but I'm going to do it.
Yeah, no, I want you to. Let's go ahead.
So Braden was making a claim about, extinction is wrong because people get abused in hospital beds or something crazy.
That's not what I said. I said your view is false because you attribute the only bad thing is suffering, and I gave you a reductio.
But regardless of what he's saying
so
right now,
contradicting yourself.
We pushed him on what he was saying, and he ran away, basically.
What did I run away from? I gave you the
when I
principle.
cornered him on why is it bad, he ended up saying because it's defined that way. And then when I tried to push him on that, he started running away.
No, I said it frustrates their interests and their preferences.
Running
That's
away.
why it's bad.
Basically, he can't defend what he's saying. So if you actually analyze
I will
what he's
formally
saying,
debate you on this. I'll
he will
formally debate you on
squirm,
this.
he will run, he
Let's
will
set up the
struggle
formal,
to
James.
escape.
James, let's set up the formal.
Yeah, you're
Let's
saying that
formally debate.
because you can't debate right now. Okay, so again, you're just trying to escape. Okay, so the queue is currently in need of new people. I know we have a few spicy people in the chat criticizing me. Well, say it to my face. Okay, let's see who we've got. Rosella is criticizing me. Oh, no, let's have you on. Let's hear your criticism. Hello.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of want to touch on something you said. I mean, it seems like you believe that an entity can be harmed in a morally relevant way if they don't experience it. True?
Sorry, say again, I didn't hear that properly.
Yeah, so it seems like what you're saying is that an entity cannot be harmed in a morally relevant way unless they experience it. Is that accurate?
I think unless they're affected, yeah.
Unless they're affected. And what do you mean by affected there?
So if it affects you, it can be bad, right? So for example, if the person in the coma has a chance of waking up in the future, then yeah, doing something to them.
That doesn't tell me what affected means, right? Like I'm looking for like a definition, like a semantic breakdown.
So you're not able to use basic language. But we're not going to be able to have. We're not going to be able to have.
No, I'm asking how you're using the term. What?
Look, if you're going to ask for definitions of every word that I use, then
I'm not. This is dude. I don't want to equivocate on what you're saying, on how you're using the term. Do you not think the words like we should be clear on what we're saying when we're saying it?
Well, you don't know what the word affect means. I mean, look.
I have my own definition.
You don't speak English.
I have my own.
Look, if you have your own definition of every word in the English language, then we're just not going to have a proper conversation, are we? Okay, let's see who's next. We've got Remix in the queue again. Look, fine. We'll get Rosella back up if she wants to come. But look, people that question you on like how do you define the? It's like we're not going to have a proper conversation, are we? All right, let's go for round 2.
Oh my gosh. Okay, that was really bad.
It was bad.
On your part.
No,
well, you said I'm not gonna.
You're running away from logic and hiding behind. We need to
logic.
go after the definition of simple words instead of actually debating.
Wait, was I fallacious there?
Yeah, I would say that if
you're what fallacy?
Well, no, I'm saying that if you're.
Oh, okay. So
well, you're not letting me speak. You're not letting me speak.
Can you just tell me what the fallacy was, please?
Why would you ask a question if you're not going to allow me to answer?
Yeah, you
That's
tell me the fallacy. That's a fallacy?
Yeah.
Yeah, so tell me what fallacy I committed just by merely asking you how you're using the term effect.
So you don't understand that you're being irrational?
By asking questions? No, I don't think that asking questions... I don't think
it's rational to ask a question and then just not...
No, I don't think that questions are the kind of thing that can be irrational.
Do you think it's rational to ask a question and then immediately interrupt when they answer?
Yeah, can you just engage with what I asked you?
So you're dodging that question. Okay, yeah, what's your question?
I'm muting myself, dude. Yeah.
Ask me a question.
Yeah, so you said that I was being illogical. Okay, great. What fallacy did I commit?
Why don't we just get back on to the main point, right?
Oh, see, that's the thing. Like you accuse me of committing a fallacy. You don't want to chase up. You don't want to tell me what one I committed.
Yeah, it's boring, right? Let's actually debate.
Yeah.
Or is it that you don't want to debate?
No, I mean I do, but.
Okay, so what do you think? Should we end all suffering or not?
If you're not willing to engage...
Yeah, let's engage now. Should we end all suffering, yes or no?
No.
Why not?
Because I think that suffering is conducive to one's flourishing.
What, in every case?
In every case. No. But in the average case of like humanity, yeah. I'd say that it definitely is.
So does that mean that we should just not care about those who suffer terribly?
No. That's not what I'm saying. That's not an entailment of my view. Look, what I'm saying is that
Because when we're talking about those that are suffering terribly, you just said, well, we benefit from it.
No. Look, you're not really understanding what I'm saying. Okay, look. In cases of immense suffering, yeah, I can see why it would be justified to take a life, right? So, for example, if you're born and your only experience in the future for like the next 80 years is being set on fire and having like salt rubbed in all of your wounds and being covered in bleach, yeah, obviously I'd say that that's not conducive to your flourishing. But when we talk about the struggles that humanity typically goes through, right, it's things like loss and it's things like grief.
No, let's not trivialize it, right? We should focus on the extreme suffering because that's what we're that's the worst of what's going on. So
no, but look, the majority of humans don't experience extreme suffering, like I just said, right? So it seems like to wipe out the entirety of humanity to cause extinction would only be justified in these cases. Now, I can agree with that if that's
but these cases do exist. So yes, it is justified.
You think there's a case where someone has the experience of being set on fire for 8 years and having salt and bleach rubbed in their wounds?
Well, no, but that's not the only type of suffering. Don't be silly.
Well, yeah, I'm not suggesting that it is, but
well, you were. You just did. You just did.
No, I literally gave you other examples of suffering.
No.
I told you.
No. So why did you ask that question? Why did you ask that question?
Ask what? Wait, what are you referring to?
So you have no idea what you're talking about, right? So there are other types of suffering.
I don't really understand like what you're getting at.
You said that you have to be set on fire for 80 years for life to be unacceptable. That's the only way.
Well, obviously not that in particular, but I mean, experiences.
Well, then don't say it. As if
obviously,
being set on fire for 80 years.
Obviously, I mean experiences analogous to that, right?
Obviously, that's what I meant, and then you criticized me for doing that.
Yeah, my contention with that is that that's not the average human experience, right? The average human experience is not to suffer all of the time, and
so if we only focus on the average, then we should we just ignore all of those that suffer.
Well, yeah, like when you're talking about exterminating an entire.
To ignore those that suffer.
If you're set on what's the term, like slaughtering the entire population just in virtue of the fact that they might suffer, it seems like we should take into consideration how much we're actually suffering, right?
Are you doing that?
Taking that into consideration? Well, no, because I don't take that view. What? I mean, like I try to prevent suffering where I can. I mean,
so you don't care about the suffering in the world?
I do. Like I care about suffering in the world.
How much?
Well, enough to cut out like every single animal product ever and to not pay for these things.
What about all of the other suffering?
You mean when people experience loss and stuff?
No, don't be ridiculous. If all right, that's it. You're done. You think loss is the only extreme form of suffering in the world?
That's not true. That's a straw man.
Well, no, that's what you said.
No, that's not what I said. Like this is what.
Then why did you mention?
This is what I said under your straw man.
Why did you mention it? Why did you mention it?
Yeah, it's an example, dude. Are you?
You
cannot track a conversation.
But that's not an example of extreme suffering.
Look, I need to go to work now and actually prevent suffering
instead of just. You can't discuss the real suffering here. I've said this many times on my streams before, and you will see it actually pretty much every debate, right? Not just every stream, but every single debate. They will. They don't want to talk about the extreme suffering because they can't argue against it. They know it's unacceptable. And so they can argue against like stubbing your toe. Like, oh, you want to make us go extinct in case we stub our toe. That's the best they can do, right? In their fantasy head, that makes sense. But, you try and talk about the extreme suffering and they say, oh, what appealing to extreme examples. It's like, okay, well, let's just first, establish whether or not that suffering is acceptable. And they're like, no, that's an extreme example. You can't talk about that. What, so just the extreme suffering just gets justified by default then? That doesn't make sense. So no, you do have to talk about the extreme suffering. Otherwise, you're allowing it. You're saying it's fine. We shouldn't even worry about it, right? No. If you've got people suffering Obviously, those who suffer the worst should take most of your attention. Those who scream the loudest, right? But again, you know, she would have said, "Oh my God, that person screaming so loud, that's so annoying. Oh, I'm going to help the person that's quiet and polite." Basically, right? Okay, the queue is empty once again. The queue is empty. So we need new volunteers. We need fresh blood. We need new people. Pay Rare, come and join, right? Say it to my face. Look, we've got people in the chat saying, you know, you're crazy. Come and say it to my face, right? Prove it if you think you can. Yeah, let's get Elle back up. We've got no one else. We're desperate. Elle, how you doing?
What up, man? Dang, I didn't even know. I didn't even mean to request again, but no, I did. I did earlier, but no, I did want to just say because there's some people that disagree in the comments, and I just wanted to tell them like we are all. I don't know if you look at it like this, James, though, either, because you're kind of like I know you're an activist, so like you got a mission, but like my mindset is just like none of it matters. You know what I'm saying? Like nothing matters at all. So like,
But
why
if
would
anything's going to matter, it should be, you know, life forms who are screaming for help.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Like and like I said, like you said too, they don't want to talk about the extreme suffering. They only want to talk about the smaller. Yeah, they don't want to talk about true suffering because there's plenty of people that truly suffer, and that is who you. That's what we're mainly talking about for sure. Because like, so yeah, but yeah, I was while you were talking to the other people, I was just coming. I just like other ideas was hitting my head. I wanted to get out, but
Okay.
like, but I forgot a couple of them though. But I know that was one of them that I wanted to say for sure. But yeah, that's funny because yeah.
Yeah. Elle, thank you for coming up again. Just like Elle was saying, people cannot debate against the more extreme suffering. And in the same way, they live in a bubble, basically, where there is no extreme suffering, right? They don't realize it exists, basically. Their brain doesn't let them realize it exists. And so, yeah, they think, you know, the bubble is fine, basically. There's no pressure, there's no stress on the bubble because there's no awareness of suffering. And I would say that, yeah, the more aware you are of suffering, the more pro-extinction you become. Absolutely. And the more valid the argument for extinction becomes, the easier it becomes to argue for, and the harder it becomes to argue against, right? So, yeah, you bring up examples of extreme suffering, like child abuse or animal abuse. Yeah, okay, yeah, they're extreme examples. They're emotionally provocative examples, for sure. But they still happen, right? And they're extreme forms of suffering. So, look, it doesn't have to be child abuse. It can be, you know, someone with extreme depression or extreme chronic pain, whatever, right? It's all suffering. But they can't argue against that, right? That it's unacceptable. Cage is saying the background is perfect rage bait. It's great, isn't it? Yeah. So sometimes when I'm debating, I'll even try and look it in the eyes. Like, I don't know if I'm going to do it, right? But what do you mean suffering is good? Be more like this guy. All right, we have literally nobody in the queue right now. So we need someone to join and debate. If you have questions, come up. Let's have you. Let's have the discussion. What's your opinion? What do you think? Is suffering too terrible and extreme to allow? Or should we just, ignore it? What do you think? That's your father right there. Yeah. There's his brother. Oh, look, there's the uncle. Yeah. Suffering is good. It helps you grow. Where are the angry cavemen? I've still got that background, but I like this one. Okay, we have Sundus coming up. Let's bring her up onto the stage. Let's get their take, their opinion. Hello. But I like this one. Okay, we have. Bit of lag. Hello, can you hear me?
Oh, sorry, my internet's quite bad, so I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, that must be like a 10, 20-second lag.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. I guess you couldn't hear me. All right. Does anybody else want to come up on stage? Right, now's your chance. Okay, while we wait for someone to come up and debate, we're going to do a monologue, give it a little speech, a bit of information. Why the heck not? So, we don't often talk about the movement itself. So let's talk about the activism and the movement, the pro-extinction movement. We have the Discord group, which is for general activists. There's hundreds of people in there, non-activists and activists with varying levels of activity. Then you've got the WhatsApp group, which is just for activists. And then what else you got? Then we also have like the leadership WhatsApp group. So if you want to become a leader in the movement, that's more than possible. It's a meritocracy, so whoever's fit for the role, basically. Not everyone knows that there's actually a leadership WhatsApp group. So, there's more conversation going on there as well, obviously. And we want more leaders. Ideally, we would have a leader in every different country. We've got leaders in India, the UK, Poland, and Germany now. Probably a couple of other countries. But we need more. So, if you want to represent your country and get it on the Extinction board, on the map, become an activist. Jessica is saying it's a troll movement, it's not real. No, it is serious. The suffering in this world is serious. It needs a solution. And, I would say that you should come and debate, right? Come and prove that it's not serious. Say it to my face, right? Can I represent my country? Anyone can. It's not difficult to become an activist. All you have to do is start making videos. And it can be basic, right? It can be really simple. You could literally make like a 20-second video saying, we have to end all suffering, join the pro-extinction movement. It doesn't have to be complicated. Asa Jack is saying, would you rather not exist? Well, I would rather exist so that I can do activism. But if there was no need to do activism, then yes, I would rather not exist. Because that's the only rational decision when you're faced with all of the infinite danger in this world and, very little reward in exchange, then yeah, you are better off not existing instead of being in infinite danger. And that's kind of the crux of the pro-extinction movement and the ethics behind it, is that life should never exist without certainty of safety. And that can only be provided by two things, which is non-existence, extinction, or omniscience, right? Omnipotence. You can never be truly certain of your safety without omniscience, right? But you can be if you don't exist, right? If I don't have a child, it's safe, right? There's no chance it will suffer. But if I do have a child, only omniscience would guarantee that it'll be safe and won't have like the worst life ever lived. So life should never exist in that situation where you could end up having the worst life ever lived. And it's easy to say, oh, it's fine, when you're not the one suffering, but just wait until you are. All right, Sundus wants to come back up. Let's see if they load in. Hello. Worst life ever lived. Hello.
Is my internet better now? Can you hear me?
Yeah, how you doing?
Hello. Do you agree with your premise that suffering is... Oh, good, thank you. Yeah, so I do agree with your premise that suffering is irrefutably negative and that no one should go through that in all the forms that exist. But I don't think that extinction is the best way, because I believe that there is a possibility for there to be a global solution for suffering, because so many forms of suffering are like man-made as well and created for a particular purpose, so exploitation specifically.
Well, most of the suffering happens with wild animals in nature, eating each other, which is, nothing to do with humans, actually. But yeah, the thing is, unless you have total extinction, there's always going to be a risk of suffering, and the unlucky ones pay the price. And it's just not fair. It's not ethical. It's not right. It's not acceptable. Because, without, certainty of safety, you have infinite danger of infinite risk of extreme suffering. You can't control it unless you have, extinction, right? Or omniscience.
Yeah, like the example of like wild animals in nature is a good example because it's something that seems innate and unavoidable, like all forms of nature. But I would argue that there is even a solution for that, where you see that we try to have. If I know it's kind of hard to see in this world that there's a solution when we try to go against exploitation and harm and all the things that humans have done to this planet. You see that it seems quite hopeless, and I get into that state sometimes, and I'm like, yeah, I wish humans just became extinct because it's just I don't want to see them doing that to other animals, and and I get you, I do, and I just see that I just also see the potential for a better solution in a sense. I know it seems like, there's no better solution than extinction because extinction completely eliminates all possibility, altogether. I do understand, but it is logical in that sense, but I don't know how and also going back to what I said about the cause of suffering, I think a lot of it is deliberate. I think that inherently
most of it's just in nature with animals killing each other.
Yeah, and carnivorous animals, they do have to do those things and not only eat other animals alive, and they also do torturous things towards each other and stuff, and it's also disease, and I understand. But even then, I think it doesn't seem like there's a way, but it is possible for there to be a solution there. It seems like we're interfering in nature, but it can be for a positive thing.
Do you think it makes sense to try and reduce suffering instead of ending suffering?
Ending suffering is the ideal. I don't want anyone to suffer. I think no one wants that. No one wants to suffer, and that's clear. But
you see, we just don't see a way that it could be possible without extinction to make suffering impossible.
I don't know if extinction. I mean, extinction technically is a way to eliminate all suffering because no one's even existing, and to be conscious of that. But I do.
It just doesn't seem like there's any practical way to do anything else. Where would you even begin?
I mean, there are so many different ideas and approaches you can take to eliminate.
Well, you say that, but again, there's literally only one way to make suffering impossible, and that's with omniscience or omnipotence or extinction. So we can either go with extinction or we can go with magic, basically.
I guess, you said yourself that it might take many years for this movement to actually be implemented. So whilst that will take place, there may be a better solution that you might realize, but during the time that this transition takes place, maybe that people will wake up and I think that the cause of suffering is
wake up and do what?
Realize what the cause of suffering is and how we have more power.
The cause is existence in unsafe conditions.
And the solution to that is safer conditions that
can... No, because safer conditions don't provide full safety. So that's not good enough. So only non-existence or omniscience can provide certainty of safety.
When you say omnipotence, like a god or maybe someone with the highest power, is that what you mean?
No, I'm just saying you would need to be all-powerful, basically.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Because you have to transcend the material too because of natural diseases and, things that we have no control over. I understand.
No, I'm saying that to have life without the possibility of suffering, it would have to essentially be heaven, right? It would have to be like a magical or effectively magical heaven, right? Where it's physically impossible for it to ever go wrong.
Yeah, I do think that makes sense. Like there's in this planet, on this realm, it's clear that there's some sort of duality with our these types of beings where we have suffering and pleasure, and that obviously that's not ideal either. But a utopia seems like there's it goes beyond that, and
But
there's
do you think creating heaven is more realistic than extinction?
no, it's
Even
not.
I mean, because we could start extinction today, but we couldn't, make heaven today.
In terms of realism, I think it depends on how. I think we have the power to like kind of have conviction in whatever can take place. So if people want a utopia,
But just in terms of what's the practical decision, right? Should we go after magic or the real solution?
I think magic is as real as, I'm spiritual, so I think that we can manifest, we can manifest, not normal magic, but we can create our reality, is what I'm saying. So
you think we can create a literal heaven?
I mean, it depends on how you define heaven, but you said earlier, like,
just certainty of safety.
Yeah, like devoid of all suffering and like, ensuring
Do you
safety.
think engineering heaven is more realistic than just a bit of euthanasia?
I think so, yeah. I mean, because people will
Well,
be more...
I appreciate your opinion, and you know what? You might even be right. Okay, you could be right, but here's the thing. So it's not practical. Okay, she could get lucky and be right that some selfish people didn't care about the suffering and they tried to make some pleasure machine and it turns out to create heaven. But that's not the ethical thing to do, right? And maybe it will come first. Look, I'm saying, yeah, maybe the pro-extinction movement will never grow enough. Maybe we'll never take over the world. And maybe the solution to the suffering will be that some selfish pro-life scientist like her, creates omniscience and bam, all suffering is solved without extinction. It is possible, okay? But it's not the practical thing to do, right? It's not the ethical thing to do. Where would you even begin, right? To create magic, right? Essentially, to create omnipotence. Where would you begin? Because again, reducing suffering isn't an option. So you can reduce suffering up until omnipotence or something, but you'd have to specifically go after omnipotence or extinction, right? There's only two ways to end suffering. So which really is the more practical solution, right? I mean, we know that extinction will help. We know that it's a real solution. It's a practical solution. It makes sense. It can be implemented. We can start today. It can immediately start helping people. The alternative is to just let them suffer, to just wave from across the field like, yeah, I know you're screaming in pain and, we could do something, but we're not going to, because we're trying to make magic instead. I mean, look, I'm open to it, right? If someone can explain to me how it is more practical to engineer heaven than to go with the more practical solution of extinction, I'll listen, okay? But it just doesn't seem possible, right? No one is doing that. I guess part of it is that, traditionally, if nothing else, the idea of creating omnipotence, right? It is essentially the most difficult thing imaginable, right? You can't really imagine anything. It's the highest level of achievement, right? And it's, I don't know, it's just, is it practical to try and engineer omnipotence? It might be, right? 100 years from now, maybe we'll say, yeah, it's looking pretty possible. But in the meantime, it seems impossible, right? It seems extremely unlikely. It seems like it would be, way, way off in the future. Impractical to try and, advocate for creating omnipotence, right? We have no idea what it would look like, where we would begin. Whereas extinction, it is possible. It can start immediately. So, do we go for the most unrealistic thing possible, or do we go for the most realistic thing possible, which the victims need, right? The sufferers need it. They're relying on it. So, look, we can do both. We can absolutely do both. But what would you have me do, right? What would she have me do, right? We stop the pro-extinction movement and we start the promagic.com movement, right? Pro-magic. The type of people that we're going to get for that, I just don't know, right? If they're going to be any good. But maybe we should do it, right? Maybe someone should go off and do it, promagic.com. And I guess where would you go from there? You would have to you would have to do it with AI, right? Obviously it would rely on AI. And then you'd have to I guess recruit some scientists who are involved in AI and are trying to create the singularity. I don't know. Maybe, I could see how it could potentially work, but ultimately, if you've got no one advocating for extinction, then that's a big avenue of a big potential solution that just wouldn't exist. So on one hand, yeah, maybe it does make sense for us to continue advocating for extinction, and the pro-magic people can go and do that as well. But ultimately, should we go after a realistic solution like extinction, or the most unrealistic solution possible, which is to engineer heaven? Again, I think a lot of it does come down to the fact that engineering heaven is just too impractical of an idea to go after, right? It's just far too impractical. So, yeah, how can you engineer heaven? I mean, I don't know, but it would definitely seem less practical, less possible than extinction. Cora's asking, how would you start extinction? We would immediately start with animal extinction. So there's lots of species that can go extinct. There's lots of animals that can immediately go extinct. Pet ownership would be banned, obviously. So yeah, extinction could start immediately. We could make euthanasia accessible for lots of humans as well. How would we do animal extinction? Well, we would do it with euthanasia, and that can take lots of different forms. So, we need to find the best ways, Cora. There's no point asking, what does the cure for cancer look like while they're still trying to cure it, basically. But, it could take the form of a gas, a bit like, people with flamethrowers walking around, just a bit like doing the gardening or something, right? Walking around with a lawnmower. It could be something like that. Maybe the gas will be like morphine or something, and it'll feel really good. Who knows? But we could definitely start doing it immediately. Okay, let's get our next person up. Alien Man joining us next. Alien Man in England.
Yeah, hi. How's it going?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm good, man. So yeah, I just had a question because you keep saying that we should have kids and all of that. Reproduction is good. I don't agree with that, honestly. I think if you're not from a privileged background, you should definitely not have kids, because a higher chance for them to actually go through a lot of sufferings in a human environment in modern society, because it's designed that way, right?
Yeah, but the thing is that the more humans we have, the faster we can end suffering.
Yeah, but I don't think humans should be entering years, like thousands of years of sufferings.
Why not?
Well, because we're all born as individuals. It's like no human actually has.
So do you think humans are the only ones worth considering in this picture?
No, not at all. But
that's what it sounds like. You're ignoring the rest of the picture. The reason why we need humans, you're ignoring it.
I think that any alive organism is actually an individual, right? And so I don't believe that anyone should be sacrificing themselves for the sake of other people.
Why not?
Well, because it's kind of like
it sounds like you haven't really thought this through.
Well, I have. It's just that it's like any individual obviously perceive reality as as its own reality, right? It's like you're writing your own story, pretty much.
What's that got to do with anything?
Well, it's kind of like you don't even know if what you're interacting with is actually real. Like, it might just be a simulation.
So by that logic, we should just ignore child abuse. It might not be real.
By that logic, I think that we should try to get rid of any possibility of life. Really, that's the only way to go. I don't think humans should Well,
How are you going to do that?
well, actually, I'm not sure, but
Well, we are, right? We have thought about this. Our position is completely coherent, completely perfect, okay? Check it out, read our website, educate yourself.
Well, I just don't think that getting rid of, planet Earth is going to be enough for us to get rid of all sufferings, right? It's definitely...
Yeah, we support universe-wide extinction.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So how do you plan on doing that?
With science.
So, sorry, what again?
With science and technology.
Science. Yeah. So what kind of science? Do you think AI is going to be able to do that?
Potentially, yeah.
So, like, if we get to AI intelligence, well, if we get to an AI that's like more capable than any human in any way and fails, should we just get rid of all humans at this point?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the plan.
Well, yeah, I think we're actually quite close to getting to that level of intelligence, right? And so I don't think reproduction is useful at all.
Right,
I think
until we have certainty of that, then we have to rely on reproduction.
I think it's going to happen real soon. Like, give it max.
Right, but we can't take risks like that, so we can't chance it.
I mean, do you want to? I mean, it's it's kind of like. But at the same time, if you give birth to a kid,
you
obviously
can't make big decisions like that until you have confidence.
Yeah, it's like, do you believe in morality? Just want to ask you that. Yeah. So, what is morality according to you?
Well, it's connected to the greater good and the whole picture.
Uh-huh.
So most people's morality is flawed because it's like selfish and it's small, basically. So unless you're considering the whole picture, then you're never going to have proper morality.
I see. So it's like, do you actually think there's like an extreme good and an extreme bad that exists?
What? The world?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's causing, harm.
Yeah, what is harm exactly? Isn't your brain stimulating the idea of the very thought of suffering? Like, wouldn't that be part of the simulation when you actually think about it? But if it's all simulated, well, like the very thought of reality itself would actually be simulated, right? In a way, it's like suffering itself could actually be abstract and not real. Like your only feeling is in a highly realistic simulated environment that makes you think it's real, right? That's like the whole idea.
So instead of doing the responsible thing, we should just say, nah, it's probably a simulation.
Well, no, I think that there's no way for us to actually tell.
So that's why you have to be safe. Yeah, better safe than sorry. That's why you do take the responsible action.
What's a responsible action? I'm just confused.
Well,
what does that
mean? To end all suffering.
Yeah, but like, I don't think there's like any goodness is not real. Just like.
No, but that's just an excuse that bad people.
Well, it's not an excuse. It's just
that's like what a slave owner would say, right? Oh, morality doesn't exist. Of course, I should be allowed to have slaves.
Well, when you look at evolution, we've actually.
But you agree with that?
Well, I don't think morality can actually be defined.
All right, so you are officially supporting ownership of slaves, right? Well, you're not a serious person, are you? Why would we want to have a debate with you? You're just like arguing with a criminal. What's the point? Hello, how you doing?
Yo, how's it going? How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Do you have any questions?
Shit, I should have thought a little before I came up here.
You could give us a show in the meantime.
Don't you think it would be playing God to really make this choice? Aren't you scared of the results on your own soul if you were to do something like this?
Oh, I'm an atheist, so and I think this would be the best thing for your soul, right? To help those who are suffering.
Well, you're not helping them.
Really? You don't think anyone is suffering?
Oh, I mean, for sure, but
you don't think euthanasia ever helps? You don't think anyone's ever been born into a life that they would have been better off not being born into?
Well,
because you said it doesn't help, right? So it's not really adding up. because it would help, right?
Wow, I am realizing I'm fucking, I don't have jack shit to say. I should have done my homework. Goddamn. Well, you take care. Jesus.
That's all right. No worries, mate. Feel free to come back up, later, right? It is a lot to wrap your head around. In fact, this is, extinctionism is pretty much the most, opposite thing to human nature possible, right? It's as far away from human nature as it can get, right? It's literally the exact opposite, right? Humans are selfish. They glorify life. They think it's beautiful. This is turning everything upside down, saying, no, your life is bad. Life isn't a good thing. The only right thing is to have nothing, right? People are obsessed with existence and life existing. And it just makes them comfortable, basically. So when you say that we're going to take that all away, it terrifies them. And not only terrifies them, but it's more than that, right? It goes against their programming, right? It goes against their upbringing. It goes against their natural biology, right? Their hormones and their feelings. It goes against everything. It's like really hard for people to accept and to think about it. You see a lot of people come onto my stream and say, oh, I've forgotten what I was going to say. And it's because this is high level thinking for humanity, right? This is complex, difficult stuff to think about. And you will be like, you've got so many trains of thought going on. Yeah, it's easy to be like, I forgot now. All right, we have someone saying they're going to crush me. Let's do it. Charles Sarsfield, how you doing? You need to stay on the TikTok app, otherwise you get it'll mute you.
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah, how's it going?
What's good, bro? What's good, bro? How we doing?
Yeah, good.
Amazing, bro.
So which side are you on? Is this you or is this you?
I'm gonna keep it $1.50, bro. I think you're a pussy, bro. I think you're so scared of suffering. It's not even funny, bro.
So this is you.
Bro, you're so scared of suffering. You literally made an entire TikTok account because you were so afraid of a little bit of hurt, a little bit of pain, my brother. Are we serious? God damn, bro. Like, it's actually so sad to look at, bro. Do you have anything to say to that? Or like, 'cause I just feel bad for you, G. Like, I just feel like life could be so much more than just running and hiding and being timid. And yet.
Okay, cool. So no logic detected, no argument detected. Moving on to greener fields, a bit with more logic. I'm like a little logic bot. No logic here. Let's look elsewhere. Hello.
Hi. How's it going?
We've got two people on. Sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna save Jeremy for afterwards because he's a troll. Yes, Lamid, how are you?
I'm fine.
Great. Do you have any questions for us?
What do you say?
Sorry? Okay, Lamid, thank you for that. We're going to move on to Jeremy now, who is always a spicy meatball.
Hey.
So, Jeremy.
Yeah, how's it going? Hope you're doing good.
Good.
So I was thinking about that, right? Like I was looking at like the website you suggested, like number 30 with veganism. And the problem for me is like that they misrepresent veganism. But I have another topic about the pro-extinction movement, like where the flaw is in there. So if you think about like we humans are made out of atoms, right? Like we are made of like components, so to say, to simplify it. And how can we guarantee, like, if we destroy the whole planet and just make everyone go extinct, that there will be no other species created out of our material? So how can we make sure that the suffering really ends? In my opinion, we cannot really do this because everything, like, I don't know, if we aren't alive and so on, we might become a plant, or our materials might be like composed into like another living being. So how can we guarantee that there's no suffering?
With science, you just do your best, basically.
Yeah, but we cannot guarantee it. And if we say like we
well, you can't guarantee anything, Jeremy. You have to try your best.
Yeah, but to have
not
like
look
a
for
movement...
excuses, right? So you don't realize it, but you're looking for excuses. Basically.
Not really. I'm just like questioning it. Like, you know, like I understand. Like I'm vegan, so we are for the extinction of like farm animals, of course, right? Like we talked about this, we agree on this part, I guess. But like we have scientific evidence for that this will decrease like the exploitation of animals. But like when we talk about the pro-extinction movement,
but only by humans, right?
What do you mean? Sorry again.
But veganism doesn't end animal exploitation. That's the problem.
Not fully, because some people might need to have like
the majority of animal exploitation doesn't get helped by veganism, right? It's
exploitation, suffering. You mean suffering? I guess you mean suffering. Like you said, I think you said that if we all would go vegan and like the fields would be like we wild it again, then there will be more wild animals, which will cause more suffering. But exploitation is like a different exploitation.
Yeah, suffering is worse than exploitation.
Yeah, but like suffering is always like inevitable, I guess it's called.
No, Jeremy, that's a pathetic argument, really, to say, just let them suffer, it's inevitable.
No, I'm saying not, me being alive is
lazy argument.
No, I understand what you mean. So like the pro-extinction movement tries to get rid of all suffering, but the problem is like we cannot really show that we can end all suffering, as I said, with the
Why not?
the universe.
What do you mean? Why is that a problem? What are you talking about?
So, like, if we have a movement which should end all suffering and cannot guarantee that all suffering is removed, then what is this movement about?
So let me ask you this, Jeremy. For the scientists who are trying to cure cancer right now, do you think that they're wasting their time because they don't already have the cure, that they can't guarantee that they can cure it?
No, but like...
wow, that's amazing, Jeremy. That's such a contradiction, right? It's like you have a double standard, basically.
No, it's a weird example, actually, because I think like the curing cancer is easier than like mass extinction.
How do you know?
Because as I said, like how can we, like if we are made, like we are made of billions of bacteria. I don't know, like I don't know what.
Jeremy, these are just excuses. These are just excuses.
No, this is not relevant. This is just scientific. I'm just saying, like,
because look, you don't have to have 100% certainty of 100% success in order to try and do your best, right? Even if you only achieve 99%, it's still the right thing to do.
Yeah, that's what veganism also tries, right? Like
no. Veganism doesn't help over 99% of the planet.
No, but it helps to do it to a certain degree. Like we cannot save everyone, but we save some.
It's negligible.
We save some, like with that.
It's negligible, Jeremy. It doesn't do anything.
How is it negligible?
It causes more suffering to wild animals.
Yeah, to wild animals, like
who you don't care about because you discriminate against.
No, not really. Like I see the website. The website says like we don't care about.
I don't hear you mentioning anything about wild animals, Jeremy.
Yeah, I'm talking about the website.
It sounds like you don't care about them at all.
No, wild birds. It's like the point 33 on your website, on the proextinction.com website, right? Where they say, why can't we support veganism activism? And they're talking about like that we don't care about wild birds. Like I would see like that where veganism
birds not
says,
the only animals in nature, Jeremy.
Yeah, I would like to see that where that is said about veganism. Like we do what we can. We're not perfect. We 100% agree on that. Like I'm not perfect. I never.
Yeah, but vegans don't care about wild animals, and they cause more suffering to them.
No. Okay, then let's go over another point. So
you accept that? Yeah.
Again, please, sir. Say again, please.
So vegans don't care about wild animals, and they cause more suffering to them.
I wouldn't say that vegans don't care about wild animals because like there might be some vegans who don't care about that.
They want them to suffer.
Where is that said in veganism, like that we want them to suffer?
Yeah, that wild animal suffering.
It might be like
most vegans support wild animal suffering. They think it's good.
Yeah, but most is not all, right? Because like some people are like strange doesn't mean that all are strange.
I'm saying that over 99% of them do.
How do you know that? Like, do we have stats
that's
about
obvious,
that?
Jeremy, look, you're one of them right now, right?
Yeah, but I'm not 99%. I wouldn't say so. Like, that would be arrogant to say.
You are representing the vast majority of humanity and vegans, which are in the same boat as supporting suffering continuing.
No, I'm different, actually. Like, I think some vegans would say like they like to eat oysters and so on. So like,
Jeremy, why don't you care about wild animal suffering?
I care about wild animal suffering.
But you think we shouldn't do anything about it?
No, like the thing is, like I have to do more research about that. I did some research about that.
Why do you need to do more research to know if wild animals deserve to suffer or not?
No, like I need to do some research if like these points are actually true. You know, like I did some
points. What points, Jeremy?
That if we are all going vegan and like we wild the field, so that we are causing like more suffering to animals overall, because it needs some time until like there are animals.
Jeremy, it doesn't matter. right?
But then we can see it factually. Then we can look at the numbers and see if we like causing more suffering
Jeremy,
overall.
but you're thinking of it from a small-minded point of view, where you only care about the suffering that you're causing, but that ignores all of those who are suffering for other reasons. So that's not fair.
I'm also causing the suffering, like if that's like an indirect
again,
suffering.
Jeremy, you're ignoring all of those who suffer for other reasons, and that's not right.
No, really. I try to.
Really, yes, Jeremy. You obviously don't understand what you're doing.
No, I don't understand what you mean. Can you elaborate, please? Like you said, like that. I don't care about wild animals.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I would like to see like where that is the case, because I try to target one problem doesn't mean that I totally ignore the other problem.
It does. Of course it does.
Because I
we
cannot
should
save
end
world
all
hunger,
suffering, not just some, Jeremy.
So would you say because I cannot save world hunger and I'm like feeding, let's say, 100 people,
this has nothing to do with world hunger, Jeremy?
No, just as an example, just like an analogy.
To what?
To that, like with the problem.
No, Jeremy, yeah, absolutely. We need a universal solution for everyone.
Yeah, but that's not possible, as we figured out. Like, we cannot really 100% guarantee that there will be not even more suffering after unaliving. If you say like we go full extinction,
you think there's an afterlife?
No, sorry, what?
So how would there be more suffering after extinction?
I can tell you. So like think about like because of like randomness and so on. Like out of these like let's say out of the materials form, like everything is gone. Like everything is separate to materials or like whatever we're made up of, right? And it could be possible that based on randomness, there would be more living creatures than exist after doing this, because like maybe, I don't know, it's simplified, like we need 2 parts to create a human or 1 part to create an animal, and then there's...
So how would humanity not going extinct and animals not going extinct prevent that from happening?
Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I have no solution how to...
So you're not making sense, right?
No, how to make them extinct.
You're saying that there's less chance of suffering if there is life. That doesn't make sense.
That could be. Like, I cannot prove it. That's the problem.
But
we cannot
Jeremy,
prove both ways.
You can't just make random accusations, like random claims. They have
no,
to be
like
examined.
it's like an experiment, just like a thought experiment. I never said that.
Well, it's not good enough, right? We're not here for thought experiments. We're here to
but you also have to accept that you cannot guarantee that this like mass extinction, like the movement you're following, has like the
Jeremy,
wanted
you would
outcome.
have to be. That's an irrational standard that you're setting.
No, not really. Like I'm just thinking logically
really.
about it.
Jeremy,
like,
you can't guarantee anything. Only a coward would require certainty.
Yeah, I know, and that's the problem.
That's
with
like saying you wouldn't go to World War II, you wouldn't go and fight for your country because you're not certain.
But
you don't have 100% guarantee that they'll win.
I understand your points, but you make the statement that you say like you will that will end all suffering, and if you cannot guarantee that statement, then it's like kind of wild to.
Jeremy, who's? Well, we have a guarantee. Okay, we can't guarantee to end all suffering, but we can guarantee that you are useless when it comes to ending all suffering and won't bother even trying.
Not really.
We can guarantee Jeremy, can't we? We can guarantee that you're not going to bother helping and that you're just going to look for excuses. That we can guarantee. Okay, we can guarantee that he doesn't care enough to actually lift a finger and try and help. Unless he has 100% certainty that it'll go right, then he's just going to say, no, it's not for me. Okay, that's, not a serious person. Okay, Patrick is coming back on with more ASMR.
I got something for you. So, I think if you think, if you believe there's no God and no point and no meaning to all this, then it's certainly, it's perfectly reasonable that you would want to just fucking nuke everything, because this is on the outside. This is like a raging hellhole, isn't it? It's reasonable to just want extinction. I used to want that, but I would want to raise to you. So you think there's no God, right? But you should think about, so before you came into being, right? There was an infinite amount of time, right? Would you agree with that? And then
are you going to say it doesn't matter if we suffer because we'll be safe afterwards?
No.
Okay.
So before you came into being, there was an infinite amount of time, right? And then after you pass, there will be an infinite amount of time. Like, could you agree with that?
Probably, yeah.
So, like mathematically, scientifically, the probability of you existing right now without any kind of driving principle is what, 1 out of infinity times infinity, and that only accounts for the time factor when there's all these other complex, insanely complex, unlikely factors that went into you existing right now.
Yeah. What's your point?
So I think mathematically it would seem really, I mean, just unlikely is an understatement, like impossible that you would exist without some form of power, reasonable power,
What kind of power? Superpowers?
a higher power.
Oh, right. Well, no. Look, nature is amazing, right? Nature can do really incredible things, and it can be mistaken for God or, some superpower. But nature is just amazing by itself. It's amazing at causing suffering as well, but it's very impressive at what it does. And yeah, you don't want to make the mistake of thinking that there was some intelligence behind it. No intelligence would make a world that causes this much suffering.
Well, I would want you to consider that this intelligence, it doesn't value pleasure and comfort and happiness as the highest good.
Well, then we should rebel against it, right? We should try and make some technology that's going to kill this god and make sure it doesn't cause more suffering.
Well, I think
it's just another excuse to accept suffering and do nothing about it, right? That's all that this show is. It's just people coming up and saying, let's not end suffering because there might be a god. Let's not end suffering because we might get reincarnated. But it's just excuses at the end of the day to allow children to keep being abused, to allow animals to keep being abused. It doesn't help them. It just keeps them suffering.
I think a lot of the suffering is our own doing. Is what
most suffering is in nature, with wild animals starving to death, being eaten alive, burning in wildfires, freezing to death, being eaten by parasites and stuff. That's where the vast majority of suffering is. The number of wild animals that die every year has 20 zeros after it. So it completely dwarfs humanity, completely dwarfs it.
Well, I would. Oh yeah, you're right.
And look, most of them are getting eaten alive as children, as babies, right? Sea turtles have, hundreds of children and only like 1 or 2 survives. The rest just get tortured to death. So it's not something you would want to experience. It's not something anyone should have to experience.
Well, you ever wonder why you never have to deal with anything like that, and why it seems
I do.
It seems to me your source of suffering is just the way you think.
No, I suffer in other ways. But, I'm not criticizing you about your personal situation because I don't know it, right? It would be wrong for me to make assumptions about you.
Yeah, that's true. I don't mean to make an assumption. I think that it's kind of a known fact that is the main source of human suffering is our thinking.
But for extreme suffering, it's nothing to do with your thinking, right? It's you're being abused by your parent. You're suffering because of an illness or chronic pain, schizophrenia, your brain damage, physical disabilities. That's where most of the real suffering comes from.
Don't you think if something like that were to happen to you, don't you think you would have the strength to get through it?
No, not necessarily. That's just optimism bias, right? That ignores all of the suffering that could be too extreme, right? So it's you're thinking in a comfortable way. You don't want to leave your comfort zone, basically, and think of all of the actual serious suffering.
I suppose you're right. I think you're also thinking much too big picture, in my opinion. Like, we need to end all suffering right
Why
now.
not?
Well,
why shouldn't we think big picture? Because thinking big picture just means that it's fair for everyone, right? If you only think about farmed animals like vegans, then you're ignoring everyone else, and you're saying let them suffer. We don't care about them, and we don't care at all if they suffer. But no, we should have a universal system where we care about everyone suffering, and we try and help everyone in a fair way. Vegans don't want that. They don't care about human suffering or wild animal suffering. Whereas we should care about everyone's suffering, and that's what our movement is about. Making sure that, nobody suffers, and going to every last extreme, exhaust the limits of what we can do to make sure that nobody suffers, even if they're really far away, even if it's really difficult. We should put in the maximum effort to help them.
well, I would argue that your efforts, I think a different effort would be more helpful for the world, because I think the way you're going about it, you're only going to have most people against you, because
But the thing is, like, how else are you going to end all suffering and guarantee it never happens again?
Oh, you can't.
But you can with extinction. So it's the only way, and therefore it's the only right thing to do. Look, until we do extinction, you're going to have, you're going to continue to have, child abusers have children and abuse them to death. You're going to have sadists take animals and abuse them to death. It's not acceptable. It's not something we can just ignore.
Well, I would argue that. I mean, this will sound pretty radical, but it's like Marcus Aurelius. You know him? His philosophy is that what happens to people's situations, it's they're suitable to them, right? Because you are.
So a child deserves to get abused.
No,
that just doesn't make sense, Patrick. That's immediately debunked.
I wouldn't say that.
Really? So when a child gets abused to death, they deserved it.
Well, I would need some time to
they kicked their mother in the womb, and so now karma is coming back to get them. Right? Look, nobody deserves to suffer. No child deserves to suffer. No animal, no person, no one. And it's not fair to do anything but to do maximum prevention of suffering, and to go full speed ahead to provide as much safety as you can with extinction. It's the only way to do it. Anyway, Patrick, thank you for coming up. We're going to get our next guest on. Music Free has been asking to come up, so let's bring them onto the stage. Music Free, hello, how you doing?
I'm good, and you?
Good, thank you.
My English is not good.
Okay, great.
But I'm agree with your extensionist movement.
Good.
I think that life is suffering.
Yes.
And my life is suffering too. I want to die, but I can't because society prevents suicide.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So you should think about doing activism with our movement. Help us end all suffering.
How do you want to? How do you think you can make extensionism real?
It is real. So we just have to grow the movement, make videos, educate people, invite people to join the movement.
Do you think people would stop having kids?
Well, we have to do that forcefully. You can't just ask them nicely. But we have to start with animals first, and that will take a long time, and then we do humans. So we need humanity to keep going
How do you extinct? How do you extinct animals?
with euthanasia.
But you can't take all animals and make euthanasia.
Why not?
How do you do it?
Maybe like a gas.
A gas?
Yeah, maybe. Possibly.
Okay. And how about are you okay with euthanasia and assisted suicide
Yeah. Yep.
for everybody?
Yeah.
Not just for the person with disease.
Yeah, yeah. But we should make humanity go extinct, right, as fast as possible, not make it optional. But we have to do animals first. So, yeah, provide them the safety of non-existence.
I don't know how we can do with animals, seriously.
Yeah, well, read our website and you can learn all about it.
Okay.
All right,
Nice to
Music
meet you.
Free. Yeah, thank you for coming up, Music Free. James, do you know the Brazilian girl Julia? Yeah, I think so, actually. I do. Okay, Cage is coming up next. Cage has been a spicy meatball, so let's bring him on. Hello, Cage.
A top tier Georgia, brother.
Yeah. So what do you think? Hello, Cage. You're struggling here. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Cage, nothing. All right, we do have another person in the queue, so we're going to try and bring them up. Someone's saying in the chat. Let's see. Whis, hello.
Hello.
How's it going?
Hello.
Yeah, how's it going?
Oh, you can. Sorry, it doesn't look like I'm speaking on the thing. Good. I'm just curious about everything, to be honest.
Good. That's a good start.
Yeah, not that I particularly agree with it, but it's what. Why? I mean, I understand why. I just don't understand how you can not have a self-preservation instinct.
Yeah, it's a genetic mutation where we care about others more than we care about ourselves.
Right. So, but do you care about yourself at all?
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you want your own race to continue?
Because I'm not a racist.
What? Explain what the relevance there is.
Well, I'm not a racial supremacist.
So you're not. You don't believe that. So anyone that believes that humans should continue is a racist.
Well, no, but you said my race. Anyway, we think
the human. Sorry, the
humanity-
species.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Humanity would be better off with the safety of non-existence, and animals too.
Okay, so specifically, if we split that in two parts, why would humanity be better off?
Well, all life.
Right. But you made the claim that humanity would be better off. So why humanity?
Well, like I say, it doesn't. It's not specific to humanity, but for humanity and animals, yeah, they're better off in the safety of non-existence rather than the infinite danger in this unsafe world.
So yeah, so I understand you're saying it's better off, but why is it better off to be non-existent than to experience danger?
Because yeah, basically that danger, the suffering that you can experience if you're unlucky, can make it so that you would have been better off not being born.
So I suppose then my question is, who are you to make that distinction for other people?
So anyone can do it. So I don't have to be a specific person to do it. Anyone can do it. We've all been born with the ability to make decisions.
Okay. I promise you this isn't like a dig or a jibe, but why, if you believe in this, why are you still here?
Yeah, because we believe in ending all suffering, not just our own.
So surely animals would be included in that then?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Oh, literally all life as in animals as well?
Yeah.
So is this like, I don't know, it's starting to seem a little bit like a God complex thing.
No, it's just like this, basically,
We have to abolish all suffering, and then suffering is good. Can you explain the graphic?
Yeah, I mean, Some people think suffering is good, but they're very ignorant. And then you have good people, selfless people that say, no, we have to abolish that. Then you have the monsters saying, no, keep the suffering going. We like the abuse. We like the exploitation.
I mean, I understand why and how you can think this. I just do think it's a bit absurd and impossible. It will never happen.
How do you know?
Because it's
you don't know. You're just making it up.
Yeah, no, it's.
You can take it back if you want.
No, I stand by my assumption. I'm not claiming it's fact.
How do you know it's impossible? Surely only like a god would know that.
Well, because if your genuinely goal is, as you stated, to eliminate all life, how do you strive to eliminate bacteria? How do you strive to eliminate life on other planets?
With science.
Can you expand on that?
Yeah, we develop the science, we progress it, and we see if we can.
So how long do you expect that science to take to the point where we can eliminate all life in the known universe?
I don't know, but hopefully we'll be able to pass that on to AI and robots.
So you want to end all suffering, but you want to use something that causes infinite amounts of suffering to end suffering.
What's that?
Well, AI.
AI causes infinite suffering.
No, it doesn't. Okay, all right. Sorry, I won't be literal. AI causes large amounts of suffering to wildlife.
No, it's the opposite. It actually prevents wild animal suffering.
How? If you say it kills them.
Yeah, exactly. It's more that it prevents them from having habitat to suffer on.
Right, but but what about the animals that it doesn't kill but still displaces?
Well, yeah, we have to help them as well.
Right, so you want to help them by initially making them suffer for more.
Well, no. You see, that suffering isn't actually going to be significant compared to all of the other suffering going on.
So what you've just said is that their suffering is insignificant because the ends justify the means.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I guess. I mean, you do you. The reason I think it's impossible is because I don't think you'll ever be able to come the human instinct of self-preservation.
But is it? You can't say it's impossible though. Only a god could say that.
No, in my personal opinion, I don't think it's a possibility.
Yeah, that's fair enough. But to claim it's definitely impossible, you can't. And so we have to try and see if it is possible.
And so what happens when what happens if you find out that it's not possible?
Well, that's never going to happen because extinction is already possible, right? We've already made several species of animals go extinct, right? We could start today. We could immediately begin.
Okay, how would you go about that?
With euthanasia.
Specifically directed to what? Euthanasia. Can't remember where's that. Euthanasia directed to what and who?
Well, so when it comes to animal extinction, it's going to be like bit by bit. We have to replace our dependence on them at the same time. So we might be able to get rid of one species, replace our dependence, bit here, bit there, just as much as we can in within that dynamic.
So okay, so you one thing you did say is nothing's impossible, right?
Well, it depends.
And you want to use technology for extinction, right?
Yeah.
So why not focus on using technology to eliminate suffering without extinction, to the point where we why
because
is extinction?
It's not realistic, right? Look, imagine if we run the world tomorrow. There is no other way to end suffering, right? Extinction is the only way to do it. So the alternative would just be let everyone suffer while we try and create a new solution, even though we've already got one.
Why is suffering inherently bad to you?
Well, suffering is bad because it's bad for those that suffer it. And that is enough for it to be objectively bad.
Right, but everyone suffers in some way. It's a fact of life. So are you not strong enough to deal with suffering in your personal life?
Do you not think that there's types of suffering where strength doesn't help?
Of course there is, but that's why there's other forms of support aside from raw strength.
Like
well,
what?
give me an example of one type of suffering that's not compatible, but combated with raw strength.
Extreme chronic pain.
Yeah, that can be combated with, sure, if you have extreme chronic pain, medication.
Okay, but it's not always enough.
Right, it's not always enough. So because some people have chronic pain, we need to, launch the world into oblivion, or the universe.
Well, so you think they should just suffer, and that's fine. Just ignore it.
Well, as you said, their suffering is inconsequential to the rest of, the human race.
No, I never said that. All suffering is bad.
Suffering that justifies your end, right?
No. You like, in order to end all suffering, yeah, it only makes sense that you would have to cause some suffering, but it's gonna, you're in an ocean of suffering anyway.
So the suffering to achieve your ends is fine, but the suffering to achieve the ends of furthering the human race and making sure we survive is not.
No, so it's all bad, but it's still the lesser of two evils.
And that's exactly my point with the chronic pain, is the lesser of two evils between the whole universe going extinct and some people have chronic pain.
Yeah, absolutely. Nobody deserves to be tortured.
I mean, yeah, no one deserves to be tortured, but
But what?
do you believe in consent?
Of course it exists.
No, I said, do you believe in it, or does it exist?
What's the difference?
Well, because you can acknowledge something exists without believing it. Like, I can acknowledge some people believe in God and that God might exist, but I don't believe in it personally. So, do you believe in the concept of consent?
Well, people give consent all the time. Of course, it exists.
So you adhere to people's consent?
Not necessarily.
Why? Okay, I mean, that to me seems a little bit weird.
Do you think the police give deference to people's consent? Do you think if a criminal says, "I don't consent to being arrested," they just say, "Oh, okay, never mind"?
Well, but they did consent when they committed a crime.
No, they didn't.
And the people
what are you talking about? Okay, that's it. You're done. All right. They didn't consent when they committed the crime. That's just a ridiculous statement. Okay, you're finished at that point. Okay, let's move on. Like, no one's ever committed a crime without thinking, I consent to prison while doing this. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
Charles, hello.
What's good, bro? What's good, bro?
Yeah, hey.
So what's your argument? Let's hit. Yeah, what's your argument, bro?
Yeah, that suffering's not fair. We have to abolish it. And the only way is with extinction.
Do you not think that there are things in life that make up for the suffering? Do you think just because there's a little bit of suffering, that little bit of suffering outweighs the entire totality of the rest of the human experience?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's no amount of...
Why do you value suffering so much? Why does it rank so highly for you?
Because it's just so extreme and terrible that...
So for you, you're suffering... But this is you making a...
No, we're not talking about...
This is you making a confession.
No, this isn't about...
This is you making a confession. For me...
Charles,
no, listen to me here.
Okay, you're clearly having some sort of mental breakdown, but you go and do that in peace, right? Go and sit in a different room in quiet and do your mental breakdown over there. Okay, not here. Okay. Let's see who else we got. We've got... Look, Charles, I'm scared of you screaming into the microphone and just saying rambling. Yeah, of course I'm going to kick you out. All right, music free. Bringing them back on. Next person. Hello.
Just to say, I'm agree with you. Keep preaching, and your fight is great because there is nobody doing what you do. Okay?
Yeah, exactly. We have to do it. Thank you, Music
Thank
Free.
you for your job.
My pleasure. Thank you. And yeah, join our Discord, join the movement properly, join the group, the community. The link is on my profile on TikTok. And bonjour. Okay, who's next? Let's see. Charles wants to come back up. Maybe he's had a chance to calm down. Charles, how are you feeling now?
Bro, like the fact that like I express a little bit of emotion, right? And then you go, I'm having a mental breakdown. This is just testimony. This is just testimony to your weakness, bro. This is just testimony to how scared you are.
It sounded like you were stressed.
This is just, bro, you're so scared. you're so scared of stress, bro. You have heard of nothing even remotely related to passion in your life. You have
Well, let's
experienced
just have
none of these things.
let's
You
have
were
a more
horrified. You were
let's have a calmer
horrified, my
conversation.
nigga.
Let's have a calmer, more relaxed
It's
conversation.
so, yo, you're so bitch made, bro. You're so bitch made.
Okay, well, look, if
obscene,
that's it,
G.
then I'm
It's
gonna just ban you.
obscene.
I'm gonna block you. You won't be able to see my stream again.
Oh, cry, bro. Cry a
Yeah,
little,
yeah,
a
you're
little bit
done.
harder. A little bit harder.
Okay, well, look, I give everyone the chance to come and debate and ask questions. If you're gonna troll, yeah, you'll have to be banned. Organic, hello.
Yeah, top of the morning, James.
Hey, how you doing?
All right. Why is it a challenge for persons to realize that almost everything that we're trying to do is an attempt to escape suffering? Medical advances, technological advances, we're all trying to escape pain and suffering, trying to make life easier. So, Charles, I'm not quite sure what Charles was trying to do right there. It's ridiculous.
He's
But yeah,
just one of these guys.
yeah, clearly. All right, James, I'll drop that down in the comment section.
All
Have a
right.
good one. Yeah.
Thank you, Organic. All right, so this is the last call. I'm going to have a break unless we have one more person come up. We have time for one more, but the queue is empty. So we could do one more if anyone wants, and then I'm going to go. I'll be back on later as well, though. Okay, we have someone. Hello.
Oh, hello. I have one question. Based on your videos, I have a like a view that you're not necessarily anti-natalist. So, do you planning on reproducing so your kids can continue your legacy? Because in this generation, pro-extinction wouldn't succeed, probably.
It could do, but yeah, we do need to continue humanity, yeah.
Oh, okay. So humanity should be last species alive, right?
Yeah.
Before extinction. Okay, makes sense. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for coming up. And yeah, you can learn more about the movement on our website. The link is on my profile, proextinction.com. Okay, Charles wants to go for round 3, so let's do it. Charles, how you feeling?
Back in the building, blood.
How you feeling?
Yo, you can't extinct me, bro. You can try your hardest. You can never extinct me, bro. It ain't happening, my nigga.
You'll be going first. No, I'm joking. Nobody's going to be put on a list and going first like that. It's going to be fair for everyone. There's not going to be, ego behind it. We're not going to hold grudges against people like that. It's just going to be a completely fair system. And Charles will benefit from it if we manage to do it in our lifetimes. All right, I am going to take a break now. So thanks, everyone. I'll probably make a video or two, have some lunch, and then might stream again in a couple hours or something. Probably will. So we'll see.